just want to kind of show you guys a few things that have been going on. I've got some of these other covers here. It's 'cause I'm using it. Anyways, yeah, here's the other one. I got this guy here. Of course, I have some of the older ones that are still up on Society 6. But the big thing I wanted to kind of show was this guy here. I finally put together a bunch of the artwork that I been doing over the last few years. So these are the artworks that I've been doing for Ready Get Strong. So let's go ahead and see just kind of a little peek inside of it. It's a soft cover, by the way. There's a lot of good pages in here. It's pretty much almost, and it's actually even got a real ISBN. So it's a legit book now. So it's got a little perforated for the covers. But what we're looking at here is it's just simple little intro, a little dedication to my family here, a little letter that kind of goes into what this was about. And then the way I've done this is it's set up where it's 2015. So this is pretty much almost all the Ready Get Strong that I've done for the year 2015. When I first started was January. They're more or less in order. Some of the things that I did was, these guys here were the ones that actually got selected by one of the mods. So this was one of the first ones. So I did all these, and then finally one of them kind of stood out enough. I did like this guy though. This one ended up getting picked. This one got picked. This one. And then this is when I really started kind of bringing in some of the digital elements. So what you'll see here is like these first ones, I was doing about 3 of them in a lunch period. I was already doing other drawings, and then finally I found this subreddit, and I was like, ooh, this is kind of cool. So I started drawing these guys, and I would try to knock out like 3 or 4 in a lunch, just kind of real quick freehand sketches. And then it was right around, yeah, it was actually right about here. So when I started trying to put a little more time into it, so I started playing with different types of pens. I hadn't got into the fountain pens yet. And then I did a color pencil, but this one, like in fact, I even went home and finished it at home. And so then at that point, I started trying to spend a little bit more time on some of these. In fact, there was one that I did, I think it was actually around here. Yeah, this one here, this scroll here. I ended up doing that when I was at the D23, and then just because I had to finish it because I wanted to put more time into it. So I kind of went really quickly through that because, to be honest though, it shows a good progression, but it's also, these are not some of my best work, I'll admit. But it was nice because to be able to kind of put a little more time into these things. So by the time you get into 2016, you're definitely looking at me spending more time on the projects. So 2016, I've got a few that that stood out, and then somewhere around here is when I really started having a lot more fun. I started finding little techniques to kind of help get the proportions a little bit better and stuff like that. And then that way it allowed me to kind of play with new other tools. So I would definitely playing a little bit more with some of the Photoshop. And really in the beginning, I was only using Photoshop for maybe a little bit of color. Actually, no, it was a color pencil, I think. But mostly just to kind of bring in a little bit of dodge and a little bit of burn. And then I started experimenting with other ideas. Like I brought in this colored background. And then, of course, when I did Not a Prodigy, I brought in some colors for her hair. I think I did that in Photoshop. And then this one here was actually around the time that I started playing with, I think it was, I was trying to get a little bit more into actually doing straight digital art. So I think this is one of the few ones that there was no actual pencil drawing done. And then subtle colors. I liked having playing with that. This is probably the one where I really started playing with this idea of how I kind of curl the hair. I started liking that little movement about it. And there's like little times here, but trying to figure out how to play with the hair so that it create my own style. And I really liked playing with that. So you'll see that in a lot of my pieces. I had a lot of fun doing, I have you on my Instagram, Schmoonify. That was a really great one that was on for Halloween that year. So I really love these. And then of course this year, so as I got into 2017, I felt like the art was really getting a little bit better. So these ones actually takes up the bulk of what's here. So they're a little bit, I have these pictures a little bit bigger, so you can see a little bit more of the detail. And then, yeah, you can see here, like I get into a little bit bigger, even to some where they're gonna be full page in here now. So this was actually 2 pages inside of a sketchbook, because the sketchbooks I use, and I'll show you at the end. But I'll talk about my process at the end. So here we got some of the other ones. So I still try to kind of make this a really nice book though, as far as the layouts, because I did the layouts on these. You can see all different types of portraits, and then this is probably one of the first ones I started doing where it's actually the pets. I never really liked doing the pets as much, but when I saw that cat, it reminded me of my cat, so I had to come draw it. You know, and sometimes some of my drawings are still just like this. Sometimes what I do is do them in class when I'm doing. I have to sketch when I'm in a meeting or if I'm in a classroom. So I would use that time also to get some of these done. They're a little bit more freehand, a little bit more expressive. And I really enjoy most of how these guys came out, all different types here. And this one with the fish. And then definitely playing a lot more with color. Another pet, and this one I did this is probably like the only one I did where it's a full page spread inside of this book. I'm definitely seeing it get to the end here. And then the other project I've been doing with these is what I call the RGD redrawns. And so these are when I go back to the first ones here, and I've started back at the beginning, and I was using my Tumblr account so that way I can see which ones were in order. There's only one in here I couldn't do so far. The gentleman who posted it in the subreddit, he had pulled his artwork. I can't find it anywhere, and there wasn't even a thumbnail that I could use. So that way, and the original was not that great. So it was really hard so I can kind of get where I wanted to. But these ones were me going back with all the different tricks and techniques that I was experimenting with, going back to the original ones and redoing them. So you can kind of see, if you compare these, you can even still go back to the front, you'll see them all right here, going all the way down to this first row and a few of the second row. This project's on a hiatus right now. I've been trying to get other projects done. October kind of put me behind. I'm in my last semester at Cal State for this bachelor's. It's been crazy. So this one, I really like it, and it was really amazing how well it did when I posted this one on my Instagram. I think within an hour it hit 100, which I don't normally do, so it was kind of cool. So it was a really good reception on that one. So that's the book, and I'll give you a little sneak peek of what I got going on here. So this is one of the sketchbooks right here, actually. Some of these sketchbooks like here was originally in an old sketchbook with old little doodles, and then I started drawing in the RGDs, and so when I do that I try to keep them so it's usually just one page. This one I don't think I ever submitted even. I wasn't totally happy with it. Let's see here. So what I end up doing is I draw them in here in pencil, usually. Sometimes I've played with color pencil, I usually don't. I usually stick to black and white. And from there I'll scan these pictures into Photoshop, where there's another one with color pencil. Inside of Photoshop, I tend to find usually I'll play with the background. One of the things I do now is I have a texture that I usually use, so that way they have a general look and feel that carries through my brand now. But I don't do it all the time. I always try to stick to what does that picture trying to tell me. You'll see in a recent one I just posted where it's just a black and white outline. So you can see that I let the pictures tell me what they want to be and take it from there. But you can see here, if you look at this one compared to the final with the scan, I definitely bring in a darker color so that way it gives it a little bit more of a contrast, a little bit more excitement. I don't know if I did post that one. Yeah, I tend to define the ones where it's mostly the faces. What I'm looking for usually is something unique. I like these kind of edges here, the cheeks. This was actually something different. This was a Princess Leia for my wife. But then I went back to my RGDs here. And of course, a little cosplayer that's always posting in there. But you can, a lot of the things that I look for, so if you're posting into the RGD, like I look for these kind of things, and I'm sure that a lot of people do too, the 3/4 views. I like definitely beards, interesting hair, hair, the angle, the way the lighting is definitely something to look at. The glasses are something that it depends. I generally don't like drawing the glasses. So when the people post with glasses, I think the glasses really have to add something to it. Props are always kind of fun. And then also think about those expressions you guys are giving. When you guys are posting, look at those expressions. The Russian cosplayer, she does some great expressions. Irina Akina, goodness, I know it starts with an S, the last name, but she posted some awesome pictures for us to draw. And every once in a while I'll do these spread ones, depends on what it is. You'll notice most of the time I tend to go for the single ones. It's very rare that I do the doubles, or if I go for even that much of a body. Something that's fun, no. Those are the ones that I usually look for. Hats are always kind of fun. So if you're posting into the Reddit Gets Drawn, these are things to think about. If you have like cool costumes, I know a lot of people like drawing the costume ones. And Trolltova, I think is her name. I love hers because she's got like this definitely like cool Viking look almost in almost all of her submissions. You know, really zany ones are fun to do too. Expressive. And it was kind of, you know, these suits are fun, so. Demon Man. This is a Mohawked gamer right here. So, that kind of gives you interesting hairstyles, definitely. Like, those are some of the submissions. If you're going to submit to the Reddit Gets Drawn, think about those kind of things. I think that you'll have a better likelihood of getting picked, at least by me, usually. So, that was a little sneak peek of the sketchbook. I've also, like I said, I've got this book here. It is up for sale. What I should do is this. I will, once again, post it right here. I have a simple little bit.ly address for it. So the best way of getting to it would be bit.ly/Carter, make sure that it's a capital C, Art, capital A, Book, capital B. They're like $40 right now, but definitely that would be great if you really like the art, if you want to help support artists. That's where you can go to check out my new book that's up. Thank you, everybody, and I will probably be on later on to do some drawing.